Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we're here with more iRacing, this time round for the start, kind of a new series, I'm dubbing it, otherwise known as Project GTP. Yes, of course, we've seen the GTP cars, you know, the real-life Sebring 12 hours over the last couple of weekends, and of course the Sebring 1000, and I've kind of caught the bug. I want to start driving them here on iRacing, but of course jumping in to a, you know, top of the art, you know, LMDH car like that is quite a rather large setup. You know, it's a big step, it's a big move, so I thought we'd jump in and do some racing in the LMP2 car. Now, to be honest, there's only 5 LMP2 cars in this IMSA race that I'm doing today. A little bit of a strange choice, I think it must be said, here at Circuit Magny Cours, but I'm trying to look at the positives. I think that's going to be quite good for us today, sort of allows me to learn lapping etiquette, things like that. My aim is obviously to try and get used to the LMP2. I'm going to hopefully be doing some endurance races as well with my good friend Presto over on my Twitch channel. So, yep, I'm going to try and start streaming on Twitch semi-regularly as well when we do some of the IMSA endurance racing as well. So, yeah, make sure you give me a follow over there. And, yeah, we'll see how this race goes today. It's not going to be so chatty. I'm going to be trying to, obviously, navigate my way through as well. But, yeah, we've got 5 of us here. If I finish P3, which I should based on my iRating, then hopefully we're going to be in a fairly good spot. But yeah, leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and Project GTP starts here. You know, I want to race that BMW. Maybe I think it's the Cadillac as well, or it might be the Acura that apparently could be coming to the sim as well in the near future. But in my ever-lengthening list of cars I want to try and drive, I think this is a good one, as leader decides he's just gone for it. We're still obviously waiting. We have got GTPs and GT3s in this lobby. And most notably, I guess, Patrick Pile, former LMP1 racing driver as well. Of course, has done many multi-class endurance races. He's in the GTP car, so at least I guess I've got my clickbaity title in that regard. But yeah, a couple of very low iRating GTPs up the road as well that we might have to be careful of. But hopefully we can just try and learn some lapping etiquette around the GT3s and just get more comfortable with this Dallara P217. Here we go then. About to go green apparently. Let's wait and see what we can do off the start. I mean, even if I lose, even if I ended up at the back of the field, I wouldn't be too worried. As there we go, green flag racing. Valentine and Aurelian got much higher rating than myself. So we'll just try and keep it tidy. Obviously get some temperature into the tyres as well there as through the final couple of corners. So we've got to try and navigate the final chicane. Also the first race I'm doing around Magny Cours, I think, on iRacing as well. Of course, did some test driving around here in the Mercedes W13, of course, when it launched at the end of 2022. And then, yeah, just never really found a week where I could jump into it last season. So, yeah, first proper race around Magny Cours. Feel like I'm getting somewhat comfortable around this venue, of course, because I've never really done any driving around it. I don't think it's in any other game that I regularly play, so yeah, it has certainly been a bit of a learning experience there, as yeah, very much expecting the top 2 just to run away in LMP2. I think they're going to have their own race, and it looks like Billy has lost the place to Lauto behind us. So we could be in for quite a lonely one. I was a few tenths clear of Billy in qualifying and then over a second ahead of Lauto, so yeah, it's going to be very difficult, but of course you never know what might happen in these multi-class races. I think Lauto span, and it would appear he might have taken Billy with him. I might just be sat ever confined to P3 here, so I think a lot of the action today is just going to be learning etiquette when I close up to the GT3 cars, or if the GTPs lap us, but I'm not convinced they will. They might get close actually once. There we go. Speaking of GTP cars.
Seriously, dude. Come on.
That guy in his BMW there. Oh, is he going to hang on to it? I'm not convinced. Seems to be a little bit all over the place, as that's Kerry, who I'm pretty sure I did the Porsche Cup race with yesterday. Or a couple of days ago by the time this video goes live. But now apparently I've got to race a sub 2k GTP car.
Sorry, Matt, didn't mean to blow you up there.
Yeah, don't worry, mate. It's fine. It's fine. We're all just doing what we got to do. I mean, that final chicane can be rather lethal, so I'm not surprised. It won't be the last time we see someone spin through there. But yeah, I mean, Aurelian's got 6,000 iRating, and it might be that he's a bit of an LMP2 specialist, so I don't really fancy my chances, of course, against him. Rather surprisingly, I think that's a fair assessment. Lauto is still going, but I think Billy has picked up some damage, so we should be quicker and the Lauto behind us. Only 1.4k I rating, so I do hope so. But yeah, I guess this is going to be a bit of an unorthodox video in that regard, but you know, all part of the learning or the Road to GTP project that I've got going on. I think we've got to wait for some GT3 cars, which I should lap. I think it'll be once or twice this afternoon, as that chicane is so much fun in the LMP2. Just about flat out in qualifying trim if you absolutely nail it and don't get unlucky over the curbing, but yeah, it can be quite a unique challenge as well. 6 seconds already to the car in front. This is going to be lonely. Thank God it's a multi-class race, otherwise I would probably see no one. Yeah, still really not 100% sure what's the quickest way through that final chicane, but down into the 29s. I'm sure obviously if you're confident there's a good way you can sort of hop over those curbs, but I think for me, honestly, the quickest way to get through there is just to avoid them entirely, as that corner is so satisfying. This is a good track for an LMP2 car. Of course, you know, you've got the very high downforce requirements, just about hang on, obviously a lot of the corners, but yeah, it would also probably be even better if I had cars to battle with. I don't quite know roughly where the GT3s. Perhaps I need a mini-map up on the screen somewhere as well. Might have to try and look at if there's some iRacing add-ons anywhere for that. So I should have put up at a 5th earlier. I forgot about that. But yeah, maybe I need a mini-map so I can start to assess that sort of thing as well. It's all part of the learning. I don't know why I left it in 2nd gear there either. You've got a delta on the dash on this thing. That was not wise. So that is, I think, the lowest... Whoa, where am I off? Hello. Yeah, that is the lowest GTP driver. Already appears to be out. You'll never guess what I've found, ladies and gents. It's a GT3 car! We will actually get to lap 1 fairly early on in this race. Kerry, like I said, I'm pretty certain it's the same driver I raced Porsche Cup with a couple of days ago. Let's hope that he doesn't end up the same way our Porsche Cup race did. It looks like his Audi is a little bit battered. I think this was actually, yeah, the guy that we had the incident with. So hopefully, is he going to let me by? He is letting me have on the racing line, so we'll take it. Thank you very much. But of course, doesn't have to do that. I meant to, of course, based on multi-class racing etiquette, meant to go around him. So I think now we're starting to see a couple more GT3s on the radar, and that is my first incident point of the day. Oh. No! My clickbait! Patrick Pilet's gone! No, dearie me. Looks like he's already out then of this race. Rip my bait. Ooh, gotta be careful. So easy, just... Whoa! I wasn't actually talking about locking the rears there, but I've saved that. So easy, actually, just to nick the grass on the way in there. But yeah, now we are coming up towards the GT3s. Here we go then. My first proper time trying to get around multiple GT3 cars. Of course, I have done a little bit of LMP2 racing. You guys remember a couple of years back, that was in the Fix series though. That's not quite where you want to take your Merc, I'll be completely honest with you, mate. We'll make it nice and clear that we're going on to the right hand side. And yeah, so far then, that's 2 navigated, but now a much bigger gaggle of these GT3s. Of course, this is really, you know, where you've got to start thinking, you've got to start being smart and sensible, and of course not really looking at your own times anymore, just about trying to navigate them nice and effectively. Of course, it is your job to overtake the GT3 cars, remember, so let's just head down into the hairpin. Just trying to see if we can have a look around the outside. Tractor's running there very quickly. Get around him. Easy does it. There we go. 1 place gained. There's BMW and a Lamborghini just in front of us side by side. Neither of them look like they want to back out of that one. So we'll just sit back and wait and see what happens. Of course, it's the other thing, you know, when you're heading into a braking zone, of course, if the braking range is particularly different, there's a nice little switchback. And obviously you're able to get past the both quite comfortably there. Of course, you've got to start thinking ahead. You've got to make sure that you're being sensible and obviously giving them space as well. You know, you can't really dive into a gap that, say, might disappear. Often it's honestly worth just sort of sitting behind them into a corner and then obviously getting them on corner exit. But of course, it's through these higher speed parts of laps. You really have to be very, very methodical because, of course, you don't know where they're going to wash out or maybe get a switchback, things like that. And there we go. Again, just going underneath. You know, you got to accept sometimes you're going to lose time. But still, I mean, there's a big old gap actually between P9 and P8. Another 14 seconds up the road, so I don't know what's happened early on in this race, but we're through the first cluster. That went okay. Someone's out of shoes. Looks like they got away with it, as I was trying to chase a personal best on this lap, but I think through there, yep, that's so. No, we're still in the green. Pretty much even now as we head down in towards the final couple of turns. I've gathered ourselves up towards the rest of the GT3 sneak by the looks of it. So yeah, very, very weird that such a big gap has formed there. I wonder actually how the GT3 cars handle through those final couple of corners. I think that is a new PB. Yep, there we go, 29.3. Just, of course, before we get back into the traffic. So again, we'll just sit back. Might be able to have a look at the inside of the Ferrari. Yes, we will. Of course, it will compromise my run on the exit slightly. But, you know, that doesn't really matter. We're not really racing anyone at the moment. As we'll try and see, actually, first of the GTP cars as well showing up on my MFD. So let's try and take it nice and easy. Slotted in front of this Lambo.
Clear left.
I think, yeah, we're just about able to get it parked there nicely, you know, just about in front of him. Of course, you don't really want to sit on the apex side by side with them if you can avoid it. Gonna have to wait behind this BMW and potentially have a bit of a look at the inside.
Car right.
We will get to the inside there,
Still
nice
there.
and easy. Thank
Clear
you.
right.
Just obviously, like I said, got to pick them off sensibly. Might be able to get the Ferrari. I think we have to look
Slower
out
class
of the
car ahead.
chicane. Thanks for that, Mark. Just got to remember as well, you know, they got bigger braking zones than myself as well. Ooh, he's actually gone a little bit defensive on me, so we'll just sit back and we'll try and get a run off the corner then.
Car left.
Of course, you've got to try and learn as well, you know, where the other cars are similar pace and where they struggle a bit more, you know, whether it's on corner exit or on the brakes or anything like that. It's a nice Herbie livery on the car in front of me. Definitely don't want to leave it in second gear through there, but yeah, you can see just how much pace you suddenly lose, all in the space of a single lap. So we head back down in through turn 1. Just sit back. Of course, you don't really want to fill their mirrors either and scare them. Nope, this guy clearly wants to take a bit of a tighter line. So we'll just sit back and then try to get the run off the corner. No point, of course, yeah, you know, there's no point filling their mirrors, you know, getting on at them all too much. Because they're doing what they can. They're in their own race.
Coming up on a slower class car.
Yeah, but we have almost made it through all of the GT3s. Like I said, we're going to have to be careful. We've got GTPs closing in on me fairly soon, and then, of course, all the rules will basically be reversed for myself. I think this is obviously the weird thing in LMP2. Of course, you're having to both obey and, well, obey the different types of rules. Of course, you know, if GT3 cars lapping a GT3 car, standard blue flags. But of course, yeah, in multi-class racing, not quite the way it works, and obviously LMP2 were lapping and being lapped. So this guy wants to sit defensive,
right.
apparently. Have a look around the outside.
Hold your line. Clear right.
Oh, that was close. But we all made it through again, that's okay. To use the downforce to our advantage there, as yeah, top GTP car is not far behind. Got a couple more of the GT3s, and I can't imagine they're actually any slower through here, because of course they can just take a bit more curb than I can. We'll get to the inside of the mark on the run back down towards turn 1.
Clear right.
Just like get cleanly by before we get in towards that first corner. So of course he can still turn in
Slower class car
where
ahead.
he would want to. And now we've got an Audi just in front of us.
The gap's now
So the
12
leader has pulled out a
seconds.
massive gap in
Got half your fuel
GT3.
left.
So
Car
we get
right.
round him.
Right side's clear.
Audi does sound good off board, I'll give him credit. But yeah, now we've got GTPs closing in on myself, so I don't think it'll be long before he's with me, and hopefully we'll get closer to the leader in GT3. Oh, brilliant. Seems to have had some issues. Don't know if he's been
caught by
collected
the
by
faster
another
class
car or
cars.
what, but he's now dropped behind Valentine. So, yeah, maybe some issues there, and just goes to show. Even in a race that looked so predictable on paper, not everything is still a guarantee in racing, because well, that is way too deep into that, just to keep it on the island.
Right.
And our first BMW will
Right side's
make
clear.
it by. I think there's a fair old divide in their class of cars as well, so yeah, I don't think we've got to worry about another one anytime
The
soon.
car in front is pitting.
So, car in front pitting. Whoa, a little bit of a wobble. So yeah, clearly then, Aurelian having some issues.
That lap was
We're
at
into P2.
129.93.
And there we go. We have now closed in on the leader in GT3, almost at half distance now already in this race. Time does seem to fly when you're having fun in an LMP2 car. So we wind our way. Whoa, a little bit of traction cut out there. That might cost us. So I wanted to try and get the run and then back down towards turn 1. He did do fantastically well. I'll have to sit back until we get round to the back straight.
Blue flag.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, try and... Whoa, we've got blue flags as well.
Car right.
GTP's going to fly past me. Just got the timing
Clear right.
there.
Car left.
So we'll tuck back into the slipstream.
Clear left.
We've got another GTP, although he's a lap behind me, or at least one lap behind me. So I don't know if he'll close up anytime soon, but we're through all the GT3s again. Although that being said, the last of their class is not far up the road. All over the back then of Kerry again. Try and see if we can...
Car right. Clear right.
Switch around the outside. I'll get a 1x that time.
Keep it within the track limits.
So those little moments that just get a tiny bit scary, but we all made it through. No issues once again. There is definitely looks like Aurelian then has got some issues because he's now behind Billy and Lauto. So yeah, we could be on for quite a nice little net I rating gain then. 62 if I was to finish here. That's not bad going, as GTPs definitely have spread out just as much as the LMP2 cars have, because yeah, they seem to be lapping us sort of one every 3 laps or so. It's weird as well, you can get away with so much curb some places around this lap and then none in others, but up over the line, oh, agonisingly close to a 28 there. That's a little bit frustrating to get so close but still so far away. Got another GTP that is closing in, but we're definitely sort of learning the lines, learning the best way to try and extract more time out of this car as well. That was a really nice run at the first couple of turns. We'll head back over, will we? No, we'll let him apparently take himself to the outside. Don't really want to be here, but let's wait and see.
Still there.
Into the chicane we'll go.
Still there. Clear on your left. Blue flag.
There we go, you will make it
Clear
around
left.
the outside in the end. You can try and aggressively cut across me as much as you like, mate. You went to the outside. I wasn't going to try and move over, as that's going to be a 1x. And a slow down.
Gone out of track limits. Keep it
Ooh,
between
that
the
got,
lines.
ooh, that
You'll need to
got
give
the
back the time
heart
gained.
rate pumping just a little bit. Luckily, of course, for me, I'm not quite maximising these LMP2 cars, so slowdowns kind of just negate themselves. Again, because I just can't quite attack with everything you need to.
Got 10
in
minutes
these
of fuel
cars.
remaining.
It says that. Don't pick up another 1x. Let's just get rid of it. Yep, there we go. Let's keep on. Whoa. That's been a sloppy lap, I think is probably the best way to describe it. Need to have less of those. GT3 car. Another one. I think, yeah,
Left
we've
side.
caught back up to the GT3 train once
Clear
again.
left.
Not long before we have to pit, though. So, of course, just like in GT, I have to do a pit stop in the LMP2s. Of course, I think the LMP2s only, even in the long races, will only do about 45 minutes on a single tank of fuel anyway. So you do actually get more pit stops than you would in GT racing anyway. I think I know where the pit lane is around here, but I got no idea sort of how aggressively you need to slow down, so I certainly won't be taking any risks on pit entry there. I did actually see as well Billy flash up on my relative very briefly, 40 seconds behind me, so he is still
Car
running.
right.
I've got no idea where it means
Clear
Lauto
right.
is, because he's between us apparently. Either that or Race Labs is kind of having a day off.
Car right.
Around the outside
Clear right.
we'll go
Stewards
of the
have warned us
Ferrari.
about track limits. Keep it between the
Fourth
lines.
instant point. I was really hoping I could try and keep those down to a minimum. Four's not bad, but it would have been nice. I think we've been comfortable enough to probably only get half of that. 5 laps of fuel though, so that's going to be about another 7 minutes. So yeah, it is only going to be a very, very quick sort of 5-6 lap sprint at the end of this thing once we've pit. More GT3 cars for us to worry about. We're back behind the Herbie Porsche once again, so hopefully we can try and get a run on him. Whoa, out of here. Whoa, the traction control in this thing is certainly a little bit loose and lively on occasion. I think it allows a fair old amount of slip, which I honestly quite like. The fix setup's horrible. It just, anything happens and the traction gets cut out. But can we try and get a run on the Playboy Ferrari there? He's had a bit of a wobble out in the final corner. It is going to be close as we get towards turn 1 now. We should be cleanly
Right side.
through.
Clear right.
So, nothing too major going on there. And, I mean, it's always nice when you get sort of 3 cars or so that all work out rather nicely for you. Because we should be able to get a run on this Merc as well,
Left
off the
side.
corner.
Clear left.
So up another spot. I think we've only got, P2, and then of course the huge gap up to their leader. 15 seconds clear at the road there, Max in a league of his own, despite not even having the highest I rating in GT3s. Clearly on a charge. What? Didn't feel like I cut it that time, to be fair, but clearly just about finding the track limits then around Magny Cours. Of course, you can just do one quick short shift, save a little bit of fuel in the process. But yeah, Lauto has now appeared on my relative as we've made our way. Ooh, where am I off? Hello. It's those little things still. Got to try and make sure that we get used to, as I think those yellow LEDs signify the fuel is getting low. We've got, yeah, 2 more laps worth in this tank, then of course we'll fuel up, ready to go to the end. But yeah, I feel like I'm learning quite a lot about this car. Of course, one of the big things I'm definitely noticing is just how much throttle you need to actually keep applied through the corners, just to try and stop the traction control. Of course, if you just match the throttle on corner exit, I think this thing just kind of bogs down, of course, because of the TC. I don't know, I might be completely wrong by saying this, but I feel like it's got a turbocharger, and that I would imagine it does for an endurance race car. So I think obviously you've got to try and keep the turbo spooled as well, otherwise you do just get nothing on corner exit. Yeah, we're going to box in at the end of the next lap. Max still just a little way up the road, but yeah, definitely still got to try and get used to the obviously lack of ABS, you know, being able to try and maximise that into corners as well. Of course, you know, the brakes work phenomenally at higher speed, of course, because you've got the downforce. Whoa, chucking over that curbing. And of course, lower speed, you really have got to level off quite a lot there, and you really are trying to just be very, very delicate with the brakes. All over the back then of Max once again. Don't think he's pit yet in this race, and he's not going to this time round. Again, just don't get the run off that final corner. He just seems to have found a line that really works through there, so I'll have to sit back again through the first couple of turns. GTP car as well, just behind me, that we've got to be careful of as we're on the outside wall swoop. We will once again make it round the GT3s again then. This GTP car now will get a run on me actually as we head through, as I think I'm actually leading temporarily in this race. I mean, Valentin's basically got a pit stop on me, so we are going to be boxing at the end of this lap. But yeah, we are temporarily leading this LMP2 race, which I never expected to say early on in this one. GTP car hopefully is going to get past me before we get down into here. Yes, he's just about will, and of course the aero wash you get behind those other cars. We'll just be a little bit careful there, and of course also you've got to be careful on the brakes through the next couple of turns, because again, like I mentioned with the downforce, you will just lose everything. So Valentin is just about to. Well, I mean, we're going to box in anyway this lap.
Coming to the pits at the end of this lap. Box
so just going to have to be very, very careful on pit entry. Is
right side. Clear right.
Let that guy follow his racing line. Whoa, way too deep into there though. Nicked a bump, but get away with it. But yeah, no, I feel like we're learning a lot. Let's just try and make sure we get ourselves into pit lane nice and tidily as well. Less than 10 laps left of the race.
Increasing. It's now 23 Celsius.
Oh, there we go. So there is the yellow line. Whoa. On pit entry. Did not expect it to be 37 miles an hour around here, but that's okay. So let's just get the car stopped. Oh, no. There we go. That's a bit better. Shouldn't be a particularly long stop. I wonder actually how quickly fuel does get topped up in this car. So are we going? We're going. Wonderful. Right, let's try and get this thing to the flag then. Out of pit lane.
There's traffic
behind. You need to be careful on the exit, of course, with the line. I mean, obviously on pit exit you will have to be careful with the lines, but I don't know if still when you're in pit lane, got to be careful of it. So we're going to come out just behind the Audi once again. We'll just try and switch him off the corner.
Car left.
Of course, that's the other thing, of course, you know, you're so used to trying to get switchbacks on cars of your own pace. Try and do that on an Audi. You're welcome. Yeah, you just, obviously, you almost try and get a switch on a car and then realise he's nowhere near as quick as you on corner exit. Anyway, Julian just up now in front, so I think we've got Julian and Max again that will have to lap, but then I think we might be good to the end of this race. Might get lapped by a couple more GTPs, but we'll wait and see. So really just trying to get the car rotated through, and that's what I mean about the traction Maybe the tyres have just cooled down a little bit in that pit stop. Will we get to the inside of the Audi? We just about will.
Left side. Clear left.
I think we should be making it through there. Yep. Get the car over the curbing. And, yep, like I said, I think Max might be the last one we have to deal with. Closing in on this BMW. Not sure we're going to be close enough down into the braking zone. Of course, he's got ABS. I most definitely doesn't. However, of course, he's got to try and slow down a car that probably weighs close to 2 tons. Mine, about a ton, I reckon. Let's see if we can try and get a run.
Come on, dude. Go back
the
to
corner.
Mazda.
On your left.
There
Clear
we go.
left.
We'll swoop back through. Just get over to the racing line. Allow the car to settle over the bumps. And yep, 4 minutes left to go. 3 more laps. Whoa, hello, hello. So I got excited then when I saw Valentine, but it's the wrong one. Don't know how he's done that, but BMW in the wall.
The lap time was at 1:31.22.
Not ideal for him. So I think there have been quite a few retirements from this race. Will we get closer? Oh, that's not the line. Somehow no 1X. Like I said, the track limits around here can be a little bit peculiar, as should be able to get a run then, should be a bit close to the Ferrari. As we head down into the braking zone, we'll try and claim as much slipstream as we possibly can, and then we'll make it obvious
Car left.
going to
Clear
the
left.
inside. Yeah, we do get all the way past before the braking zone. Of course, it's still difficult trying to roll on the throttle on the exit, but that, I think, should be us done with any other cars on the road. Got Aurelian still behind me, so he might try and get close by the end, but hopefully we have, fingers crossed, as long as I don't do anything stupid, survived IMSA at Magny Cours. It never, of course, quite runs as simply as you were
Left
expecting.
side.
Have lapped a couple more GT3s even right in the dying stages here, but I think we're now going to see a white
I was hoping
flag.
you were going to show me the fast lines, Marcus, but
Oh, beef going on in GTP, perhaps. Whoa. I'm not convinced the line. No, we've got one more after this one, so
That lap was
allows
at
me to try and chase fastest lap, I suppose.
1:29.76.
Or my personal best. No way am I going to get fastest lap even in LMP. Our lead is actually going to be right
Good,
behind
good on
me
the
as we
inside.
get ready to start our final lap of this race, so I could have let him by and just claimed the finish there, but may as well just go for one more lap then. Let's try and see if I can get a fastest, or personal best even. Let's see if I can actually get into the
Last lap,
28s.
looking good for a podium.
Best lap was a
We were running on
29.03.
fumes, mate.
See if we can try and improve. Let's go! Not with lines like that, we won't. Realised I broke too early, then tried to brake later, down at the hairpin. Oh well, it certainly has been a good, fun learning experience though, and to be honest, I think if you told me on the way in I would have gained 60 iRating as well, it might not be, you know, sort of the most dramatic way to gain it, but, you know, it's honest hard work, I guess, at the end of the day. Magny Cours, of course, like I said, you know, never driven this track before in a race on iRacing either, so I
Very
feel
little
like this
fuel
was a good little car, actually, to do it in, of course. It's helped me learn this venue in something a bit more high downforce, something very, very good fun as well. But the road to GTP is only beginning now. We have certainly got a lot more work that will need to be done. But down in towards the final couple of corners, we are going to survive our first IMSA race. Don't get a 1X on the final lap.
Good race,
Oh, I
everyone.
thought that was them for a second. But through the final corners, we've made it. We've done it. And you know what? I am rather happy with
done.
that.
Decent
Let's go
drive.
have a look at those final race results. Well, there we are then, taking a look at our final race results. 2.73 SR with a plus 0.36 gain, and 61 iRating as well brings us back over the 2100 range. It might not have been the greatest race in the world, but you know what? I will absolutely take it there. Marcus taking home the dub in GTP ahead of Daniel there, and only the two of them finishing on the lead lap. I came 7th overall, so it certainly was a race of attrition in the other classes there. And yeah, we gained the 61 iRating, one of the most of anyone in this race there. Max as well claiming the win in GT3. So yeah, certainly a lot of cars with issues throughout the entirety of that race. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we will return very, very soon then with more LMP2s on iRacing. The road to GTP is just beginning.